And so the opportunity to shift came at a good season. So I had to sit back and realize, okay, the things that I want to see happen in the future, career-wise and ministry-wise, came through an opportunity of another individual.
I cannot tell you how much this infuriates me. So just recently, we saw Joel Tudman, who was formerly the senior pastor at Faith Center in Florida, who was let go, released by, I guess, the senior pastor, Henry Fernandez, and we find out why he was there. Now remember, Henry Fernandez was supposed to be stepping aside to bring in Joel Tudman, and something happened, and he's no longer there. Well, we find out why, and it was what at least I and a few others were kind of speculating about. It wasn't really a whole lot of options unless there was some sort of sin. I didn't think that was that. But there's something that happens here that he says that I also knew about, but just him admitting it is infuriating and is bothersome. And you see this all too often in some of these churches. More and more, you see these churches, not the churches, but the pastors doing this over and over again, which says that these people are unqualified. They should not be doing this. So let's go ahead and play this clip. This is from the Breakfast Club. By the way, it's a little bit distorted because the Breakfast Club likes to hit you with copyright strikes. And so I had to alter this a little bit, but I want you to hear this and then see if you can catch it before I tell you what's the infuriating, ungodly thing.
Associate pastor at the Potter House, right?
Yes, sir.
But then you left to go to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that could happen. They made it sound like you was transferring schools or something. you were playing one place and you went to go someplace.
What do you mean you didn't know that could happen?
I mean, just the way they do. I guess the Potter House so big, the way they worded it. I'm like, okay.
No, I went there to learn from who I believe to be the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
I think Bishop Jakes is the greatest of all times, and I went.
Okay, hold on. First of all, that's the first red flag. Bishop T.D. Jakes is the greatest at all times. You mean this T.D. Jakes?
And the voice of the Lord walked through the cool of the garden. And God said, Adam, where art thou? He didn't ask where Eve was because Adam was Eve's mama.
My business partner, and my giving to him is his cut. And is my business partner, and my giving to him is his cut. And if I rip off his cut, why should he bless me? I start giving on that level so that God would owe me. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? You can't handle that. I started giving on the level where I put God in debt. And God said, I'll owe no man. I started giving on the money that I wanted to make. I started giving on a deal that hadn't closed yet. And that God had to open up the windows of heaven and pour me out a blessing because he wasn't going to be in debt.
Turns to Naomi and says, as the Lord, I shall not leave thee. She makes a statement to this woman that sounds somewhere in between poetry, intimacy, and borders on lesbianism.
Yeah, I don't think he's the greatest of all time. He is now. Is he a good orator? Yeah, and I think what he's speaking about is his level of success, perceived success by someone on the outside who doesn't care about doctrine. If you don't care about doctrine, if you don't care about what the Word of God says, well then yeah, he's one of the best of all times at just saying whatever. He's a good speaker. He's a good motivational speaker. He's good at getting you to listen to what he's saying, get excited, even though he said nothing biblical. So yeah, I can see that.
And I went there to learn, and there was an opportunity that opened up in Florida. And so that's how I ended up there. I ended up there because he trained me. I was prepared, and we ended up in Florida. And God's been good to me since I've been there.
Yeah. How does that work though? Like when you what does the Spirit tell you? Like I need you to go, lead this congregation now, lead this flock.
Now notice what he's saying. He's speaking about opportunities.
Flock now, like what is it? What hit you when
I was in Oklahoma originally, and when I was there, I knew that I wasn't going to be there forever. And so the opportunity for change didn't start at the Potter's House. I was coaching at Oklahoma State University and pastoring at the same time.
There's a problem. It's a huge problem. Did you catch that? Did you see the problem? The problem is you're pastoring in Oklahoma, and you already mentioned about an opportunity. The problem that we have is we have opportunistic pastors who are not real pastors. These are the kind of people that are described by Jesus. He says, I am the good shepherd. Now we're to emulate and model after him as a shepherd. I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Now notice what he says in contrast. He who is a hired hand, or some versions a hireling, which is what he is, and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. You leaving people behind not because of any other reason other than for greener pastures. You seek an opportunity somewhere else and you took it, forgetting about these people that you're supposed to love. I've got another passage that relates to this, but I'll come to that in just a second. But let's hear some more.
And so the opportunity to shift came at a good season. Church was doing fine. My work was doing great. And I went to preach for Bishop Jakes. So I had to sit back and realize, okay, the things that I want to see happen in the future, career-wise and ministry-wise, came through an opportunity of another individual.
You said it right, career-wise. I needed this. I needed something more for my career. When you see ministry as a career and something you want to step up and have different levels. You want to have a successful career. You see ministry as a career rather than a lifestyle, rather than a conviction that has taken hold of you and you want to live that out. It's a huge problem.
There wasn't a voice from heaven that came down and said, move. It wasn't that. It was a man of God looked at me and said, what's your future?
Man of God. It wasn't, by the way, he's not a man of God, but it wasn't a voice from heaven, which at least, you could have lied about that. You could have, because you lie on other things. It was not that the Lord moved me. I was moved by the Spirit to move. No, somebody saw something, and I saw the opportunity, told me to move, because I can train you. I can make you into something. Now, we've already heard him say that he wants to be like Bishop Jakes. He wants to preach like him and talk like him.
I lacked strength at this level to be who I needed to be. But as long as I kept coming to the gate. So you got some people that'll laugh at you. You got to dress like the gate. And until you figure out who you are, preach like the gate. Wish I had a witness here. Talk like the gate. Look like the gate. Do whatever the gate does until you figure out.
So this was a business decision more than anything else.
What do you want to be? What do you see happening? Where do you want to go? And when I told him that, then it unlocked something for me to start looking at. And when I started looking at it, I started saying all the insufficiencies, all the places that needed work, all the places that needed a model or mentor, and he filled that void. And then from there, it was a challenge. What do you want? And I had to answer that question.
What do you want? Now, by the way, he's not the only one. He's done that with Keon Henderson, that is T.D. Jakes, and he's done that with Toure and Sarah Jakes. By the way, all of them have left other churches, particularly Toure, who has his church in L.A., leaves that church to come to this church, to come to the Potter's House. These are opportunistic people. This is bad. Can I just read a text? Let me just read the text. The text says, this is 1 Peter 5. Speaking of shepherds, he says, verse 1, therefore I exhort elders among you as your fellow elder and witness of the sufferings of Christ Jesus and partaker also of the glory that is to be revealed. He says, shepherd the flock of God among you. Shepherd them. Love them. Be with them. You can't shepherd from a distance. And you're not a good shepherd if you leave them, if you walk out on them. Shepherd the flock of God among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but voluntarily, according to the will of God, and not for sort of gain, like these guys do. They do this for gain. And we do this for an opportunity, for the next opportunity, for a better opportunity somewhere in the future. But with eagerness, nor yet as lording it over those allotted to your charge, but proving to be an example to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. So when he appears, he's going to deal with the good shepherds and the bad ones, those who stayed and loved and watched over their companions, and those who decided to sell them out. That's why Paul says when you choose faithful men, entrust this to faithful men. Someone who's faithful. You're not faithful. You get an opportunity, you see something. When you think the grass is greener, you leave. Couldn't be my pastor, and I hope other folks are bothered by this, because this happens a lot more often than you guys know.
Answer was move.
Wow. A question for you off of that. Recently, everything that happened with you in Faith City. Mm-hmm. So you were there, and then they sent out a letter saying that you would no longer be senior pastor. That was very public.
Now, so now they're asking about what happened there when you got to this church, this new opportunity because you left your other church for this opportunity there, and then you left the Potter's house for another opportunity. So what happened there? Well, a clash of personalities.
Especially because, the church, they want to know what happened. No one knows why that happened. So 2 questions. I don't know if you can share what actually happened. And the second question, you spoke about it. How was processing that publicly?
Now, remember, he's brought there because Bishop Henry Fernandez, he's a prosperity preacher through and through. He thinks that God's going to give you the best of things. He's supposed to be stepping down. This other man comes in who, by all accounts, has brought in more members, more money, more everything, higher notoriety, and maybe that's bothering him. But it shouldn't, especially since you're supposed to be leaving. You're supposed to be stepping down. But you got your hands still involved because you don't want to leave. Why would you make the announcement or statement that you want to leave and hand this over when you really didn't? Neither one of these should be shepherds, truth be told.
What happened? We disagreed. We disagreed in mission. I didn't do anything wrong. Nothing illegal, but we disagreed. And the disagreement didn't allow us to go forward. So that relationship was severed. Processing it has been difficult because it's public. And it hurt. I love those people.
So we don't know what the disagreement was, but it's not important. The issue is, obviously, he wants to do something. That is, Joel Tudman wants to do something, and Fernandez wants to do something different. One is supposed to be the pastor. One is supposed to be the pastor leaving, but the one who's leaving doesn't like what the new pastor is wanting to do. And so there's a clash. And come to find out, the new senior pastor is not the senior pastor. He's not in charge of anything. He's in charge when Henry Fernandez, say you're in charge. And I don't like what you're doing. I disagree with it. Maybe there's some jealousy. I don't know. Seems to be. The fact that you're still got your nose in things that you shouldn't because you said you're leaving. And so you want to release him. You want to get, okay. I mean, and I get it. It's a clash of egos because you both have them. Neither one of them, these are 2 places that you guys, I don't care what you think that you're getting in terms of preaching. You're not getting people with good hearts who have a sincere desire for the people. They are looking for opportunities. That's all. That's all this is. And so this is bothersome. I cannot stand. And with my new focus now, I'm more aware, more bothered, more sensitive to what pastors are doing right and wrong. And in both cases, this is clearly wrong. And it should upset you as much as it's upset me because we're part of the same body. And certainly it's upsetting to the Lord, who, as Peter says, when he comes back, the chief shepherd comes back, he's handing out rewards and punishment.